Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Now let's get to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by a constitutional lawyer and a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, Wahab Shitu, as well as a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in the state, Abdullahi Shinkafi. Tonight we're discussing the appeal court judgment, which declared the governorship election in Zamfara state inconclusive. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Welcome to Politics Tonight.
Thank you for inviting us.
Right. So, Honorable Shinkafi, let me start with you.
Thank you for having us in this program.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let me start with you, Honorable Shinkafi. Personally, as a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State, how will you react to this judgment?
The judgment is well expected.
Honorable Shinkafi, can you hear me? Let me repeat that question. As a chieftain of the APC in Zamfara State, how will you react to this judgment? Honorable Shinkafi, can you hear me loud and clear? All right. SCN, let me come to you. Thank you for joining us once again. How would you react to this judgment?
Yes. When a judgment is handed down by any court of law, particularly the appellate court, what you look at are three main factors. First of all, you find out what is the justification for the judgment. You also find out what are the errors of law discovered that led to the judgment, and what are the errors of facts. Because the appellate court will not arrive at a decision without finding out that indeed the lower tribunal may have misdirected itself, maybe on the index of errors of facts or errors of law. So I think the Court of Appeal came to that decision after having been convinced that there were malpractices in the Zamfara election. And the best way to do is to order a rerun of the election. So without a discovery of malpractices, the Court of Appeal would not have come to that conclusion. So I think we should give the Court of Appeal the benefit of doubt, because seated in the Court of Appeal are three eminent justices who are able to look at the proceedings of the lower court and then came to that conclusion. So my own take on the judgment is that the tribunal arrived at a decision consistent with the facts and the law as pleaded in the case. So I think we should respect that decision. Malpractices may have been discovered in the conduct of the election, and that is why the rerun was ordered. All right, so by the appellate court.
Right. Are there any legal implication of any sort as a result of this judgment?
Well, the legal implication is that INEC is statutorily bound to conduct a rerun. The implication is that there is no governor yet in Zamfara state. Election is inconclusive in Zamfara state. No winner, no clear winner has emerged as a result of the election. So until the outcome of the rerun is known and determined, there's no governor in Zamfara state as we speak, because the Court of Appeal has said the election was inconclusive.
All right, Essien, let me put you on hold as I get the reaction of Honorable Shinkafi. Honorable Shinkafi, I need to know if you can hear me now.
I'm hearing you very well.
Right. So as a chieftain of the APC in Zamfara State, how would you react to this judgment?
The judgment is a welcome development on the part of we, the members of APC. Since the lower tribunal delivered judgment on 18 September 2023, we have said time without number. It's a miscarriage of justice. It's a judicial rascality. It's a judicial recklessness, because the judgment was the evidence which was exhibited before the tribunal was not validated by the panel of the justices at the lower tribunal. And when the election was conducted, Maradu election, the result, which was manually collected, was rejected by the state returning officer and went to the RF to generate a result and declare Dawda Lawal as the governor-elect on 18 March 2023 governorship election. And RF, by the pronouncement of the Supreme Court, in the case of Peter Obi, Atiku, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC, is unknown to the law. RF is only used to view result of an election uploaded in the RF and the INEC result election being futile. But they went recklessly and generate the result from the Sabah and declare Governor Dawda Lawal as the duly elected governor of Zamfara state. And now today, we have been vindicated that that election result, which was generated through RF, is in non-compliance with the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, and it's not in compliance with the INEC election regulation guidelines. And that shows to you that you can only use BBAS to collect, to do accreditation, but you cannot use to transmit the result or for collation. So what today's judgment have now vindicated our position that 80 polling units, 48 registered voters in Birnin Magaju local government were disfranchised, were denied to exercise their constitutional right as eligible voters in Nigeria. So the now Court of Appeal today have now vindicated that election in 4 wards, which comprise 80 polling units, with the 46 eligible registered voters, which were deliberately denied to exercise their franchise, were now being given recognition by the Court of Appeal. That there should be a supplementary election in 4 wards, electoral in Birnin Magaju local government, and also in Bukuin local government, and the result of Maradun local government, the result which was manually collated and registered by the state returning officer, and also the result generated for an RF, all the 2 results were invalidated, and now the Court of Appeal have directed a fresh election to be conducted in all the polling units in Maradu local government. So on this judgment today, since PDP and Dawda Lawal have not filed a notice of appeal, the judgment is still subsisting, and there is no governor in Zamfara state as at now, based on the subsisting judgment of the Court of Appeal today.
Right, so Honorable Shinkafi, how is your party responding to this, and what does this mean for the state chapter of the APC?
We are very much prepared to go back for the supplementary election. We have known the Maradu local government is the local government of the former governor of Zamfara state, Governor Bello Matawale, is his own local government. So you know that is his home base. He has a massive support. That is his own local government. That is where there is that disputed result. We are ever ready to go back to the fold. And I'm telling you, we are going to be victorious when I conduct an election. And in Birnin Magaju local government, that is from my own zone where I come from. Zamfara State Northern Zone is a strong base of APC in Zamfara State. So for that election in that Birnin Magaju local government, we're good to go. And we're ever ready to go for the supplementary election, as the court has declared the election inconclusive. And for Bukuin local government also, where the election will be conducted in some polling unit. We are ready to go back to election, and I assured our supporters we are going to come out victorious on that day of that election.
All right. So for better perspective and a better understanding of the situation at hand, what exactly happened at these 3 local governments where a rerun has been ordered?
In Birnimaka local government, there was a report of insecurity, which they fabricated, they maliciously fabricated. And the resident electoral commissioner called parties, political party, tell him that they will go back on Monday to conduct election in that 4 wards in Birnimaka local government, without any reason based known to anybody. Now he just somersault and went and declared the result without conducting election in 80 polling units, where 46,000 registered voters were wickedly, recklessly, and deliberately dispatched to exercise their constitutional right. And in Marano local government, the result, which was manually collected and recorded in Form ECHC, was rejected by the state returning officer in collaboration with the resident electoral commissioner, that the figures in that result, which was generated manually, they are suspicious of the result. And they went ahead and went to INEC Arab, that is Arab, INEC result election being portal to generate the result from Sabah and declare Dauda Lawal as the winner of the election. And in a Supreme Court judgment of Adeleke versus Boyega or Etola, it was clearly stated out, BBAS can only be used for accreditation, not for transmission of result, not for electronic collection. But the resident electoral commissioner, with the collaboration of the state returning officer, wickedly and recklessly turned down the provision of Electoral Act 2022 as amended. And it's not in compliance with the INEC regulation guideline manual for the conduct of 2023 general election. And that is why election, we went to the tribunal, we lost at the tribunal, and we appealed the judgment. And today we are happy to get the last leg of our prayers. Because what we have prayed for declaration of Bello Motul as a lawfully winner of the election. But the court used their discretionary power based on the records, based on the evaluation they made on both the plaintiff and the respondents, and now come out with the conclusion that they declared the result inconclusive in the 3 local government areas. And we're ever ready to go back to the field, and I assure you are going to come out victorious on that day.
All right. Honorable Shinkafi, kindly hold on while I get the legal perspective to some of the issues you've raised. SAN, when elections are not held or held in this regard, in some places due to security reasons, what does the law says about this?
That when elections are not held in a particular ward or polling units, those elections are declared null and void. You can see that the Court of Appeal has ordered a rerun because in those areas, because the Court of Appeal is convinced that no actual election took place. But let me make it very clear. This is not the last bus stop. As far as governorship election is concerned, those who agree at the outcome of the decision of the Court of Appeal also have a right to appeal to the Supreme Court. In a governorship election process, the final court is the Supreme Court. So let's see whether the time limited for the other parties to appeal will lapse without them appealing before we jump to conclusion as to whether INEC will now order a rerun as ordered by the Court of Appeal or not. Much depends on the outcome as pronounced by the Supreme Court.
Right.
If PDP does not appeal, then, and the time limited for appeal elapses, then INEC will conduct a rerun. But if they appeal within the time limited for appeals, then it is Supreme Court that will determine whether a rerun will be conducted or it will not be conducted. Because as far as governorship elections is concerned, the Supreme Court is the final court. So let's wait, let's tarry a while. Let's keep our gunpowder dry and await further development. But for now, as it stands today, the law is that the election is inconclusive. The Court of Appeal has pronounced so, and until that decision is set aside by the Supreme Court, that remains the decision that INEC ought to respect, except it is overturned on appeal.
Right. So let me start with you, SAN. I mean, Governor Dada Lawal has been in office since May, and this is happening now. Does this not further deepen the conversation centered around putting an end to all election litigation before the swearing in of any elected public office holder?
Let me listen. What did you say? Can you repeat that again?
Right. I said Governor Dada Lawal has been in office since May, and that's about 7 months or thereabouts. So I'm asking, does this not further deepen the conversation centered around putting an end to all election litigations before the swearing in of any elected public office holder?
Of course, it is desirable that all election disputes be resolved before winners are sworn in. But the question you want to ask yourself is that practicable? Are you saying that the Judas and the judiciary should suspend determination of other cases in order to concentrate on the elections petition alone? So until the Constitution is amended, the situation is as it is today. Winners, this is how it is, pending the outcome of the decision in the Supreme Court. Governor Dada Lawal will still continue to exercise his duties as governor of Zamfara State until the Supreme Court decision overturns what the Court of Appeal has decided. Well, you might say it is desirable for elections to be concluded before winners are sworn in. But to achieve that, you need to amend the Constitution and the Electoral Act in order to allow that to be achieved. But for now, we have to make do with what is the law presently.
All right. SAN, let me put you on hold. Honorable Shinkafi, just like SAN just said, Governor Dada Lawal will be in office till the Supreme Court declares the final verdict. How prepared is your party for this rerun?
The panel was talk as it is constitutionally unless the Supreme Court have made a final pronouncement. So as we are waiting for a Supreme Court pronouncement, then we'll now start doing the watering of the ground. So we're going to start canvassing for vote and doing some mobilization. We are very optimistic with the issues resolved, all the issues raised by the respondents against the appellant, that is the petitioner. Only 2 issues were about 17 grounds. Only 2 issues were resolved in the favor of the respondents. Both the first respondent, second respondent, and third respondent. So we are very sure of our victory in the Supreme Court. And we are very sure when the now Supreme Court made a final pronouncement, we are ready to go back to the force, and we are gonna make sure that we win the election on that day, because Zamfara State is an APC state. You know, whatever God have decreed that it will happen, it will happen. And we have agreed that it's a destiny from God that made Dada Lawal to become a governor. But with what happened today, we're ever ready to go back to the force, and we're going to come out victorious.
Former Governor Bello Matawale is now a minister. Are you sure he is still interested in this rerun election?
He's really interested. You know, democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And he is a minister, city minister, representing a country, a whole nation. He's doing a national assignment. But this one, he'll go back to the governor and continue his good work. And he has a massive support at the grassroots. And he's highly interested because he must to accept the yearning and aspiration of his supporters. Our people love him too much.
All right, then. So, SAN, let me come to you. Now, in case of a rerun, what happens to the sitting governor?
The sitting governor will continue to exercise all his executive powers until the Supreme Court decides otherwise. And when the rerun is conducted, the outcome will determine whether he vacates the seat or he continues to retain his seat as the governor.
But then, does this not in any way affect development in that state? Talking about distraction, the governor being distracted.
Well, this will not be the first time.
So this should not in any way distract the governor.
Against the sitting governor.
All right.
It has happened before. I think what is important is that democracy is working, rule of law is working. Once the court makes pronouncement, you have a right to exercise the right of appeal. And until that right of appeal is exhausted and determined, nobody will ask you to vacate the seat. But once the Court of Appeal rules against you and is the final court in an election petition, then you have no option than to vacate the seat and allow a rerun to be ordered in line with the order of the court. So that is the law. There's no vacuum in governance. There's no time you will say, oh, vacate. Everything will depend on the outcome of the election as ordered by the court.
All right, thank you very much. Gentlemen, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will look into other angles to this judgment. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.